Think of the most confident person you know. Hold that image. Now ask yourself, how do you actually know they are confident and not just very good at performing it? Because psychology has found something most people would rather not know. Real confidence and performed confidence look almost identical from the outside, and the person performing it, they usually believe it themselves. Let us start with what is actually true. Yes, some people carry real, stable confidence. Psychologists call this secure self-esteem. It does not flinch when someone disagrees. It does not collapse when someone does not clap. Their identity is not built on other people's reactions. They can be wrong, criticized, even rejected, and still feel whole. That is real. That exists. And if that is genuinely you, this video just confirmed what you already know. But here is what nobody tells you. There is another kind of confidence, one that looks exactly the same, sounds exactly the same, and sometimes feels exactly the same, except it runs on something completely different underneath. Psychologists call it fragile, high self-esteem. A person who scores very high on confidence, but whose confidence is contingent. It depends on constantly winning, on being agreed with, on never being questioned in public. In 1996, psychologist Roy Baumeister ran a series of studies on aggression and self-esteem. He found something that flipped the conventional wisdom entirely. The people most likely to lash out, to attack, belittle, or humiliate others were not people with low self-esteem. They were people with high self-esteem that felt threatened. The higher they thought of themselves, the more dangerous the threat became. Because everything that challenged that image had to be destroyed. That is not confidence. That is a fortress. And a fortress is not built because you feel safe. It is built because you are afraid of what happens if the walls come down. So what does this actually look like in real life? It looks like the person who always has to be the smartest in the room, who cannot let someone else finish a point without jumping in, who takes feedback as an attack, not information. It looks like the person who needs everyone at the table to know they are doing well, who drops achievements casually, not to share, but to anchor, who gets oddly quiet when someone else gets the spotlight. It looks like the person who is never actually wrong, who reframes every mistake as someone else's fault, a misunderstanding, or context you did not have, because being wrong to them is not just being wrong, it is a threat to the entire structure. Here is what the research helped us understand. Fragile high self-esteem is not a character flaw. It is a coping structure, built usually in an environment where your value was conditional, where love, approval, or safety depended on your performance. So the child learned, my worth depends on what I do, not who I am. And the adult they became built a system, sometimes a very convincing one, to never have to feel that vulnerability again. Now, here's the question nobody asks. Not, are you confident? But what happens inside you when someone genuinely outperforms you? When someone knows more? When you are not the most impressive person in the room? If the honest answer is, fine. Curious even, happy for them, then you already know something important about yourself. If the honest answer is something closer to a tightening, a quiet need to point out their flaws, a sudden memory of your own achievements, that is worth sitting with. Here is what is important to understand. Recognizing this in yourself is not a confession. It is not a diagnosis. It is just information. And information you can actually work with is worth more than a flattering story you cannot examine. Secure self-esteem is not something you perform. It is something that gets built slowly through experiences that prove to you that you can handle being wrong, being challenged, being not the most impressive, and still be okay. Still be whole. The most dangerous thing about performed confidence is not that it fools other people. It is that it fools the person performing it. And the longer it runs, the harder it becomes to remember what was real underneath it. Not broken, not fake, trained by an environment that told you your value is conditional. And unlearning that slowly is what the work actually looks like. The accurate answer to am I confident is almost always more complicated than a yes or no, and almost always more interesting. If you want content that asks the questions most channels are too threatened to ask, you know what to do